Hi, my name is Lorenzo Azar Banks, and I'm the owner and founder of Minority Report Law Office here in Oklahoma City. And today I wanted to do a video response to a question that we got on our Facebook page, and it's a very simple question. The question was, if I am faced with a debt collector calling me, and they are claiming that they're going to either have me arrested or thrown in jail for owing a debt, is that possible? Is that legal? Will I be arrested or thrown in jail for a debt? And the answer to this question is very simple in the state of Oklahoma. The answer to this question is no. Not in the state of Oklahoma. You will not be arrested or imprisoned for a debt that you owe. Now, with every rule, there's always an exception to the rule. There are exceptions to this one. If you owe back child support, sorry, that is a debt that you can be arrested or imprisoned for. If you obtain a debt by fraud, sorry, that is another debt that you may be arrested or imprisoned for. Or if you do not pay certain fines and penalties that the court has issued to you, or there has been a hearing on your owing of a debt, it's been found that you owe the debt, and you don't pay the debt or show up for the subsequent hearing, guess what? You can be arrested or imprisoned for that debt. But other than these few minor exceptions, the broad sweeping rule is that no, you will not be arrested or imprisoned for a debt that you owe in the state of Oklahoma. Now, I'm not just going to give you this fact without giving you any law to back it up, so get your pencils and write this down. Just like in the United States Constitution, we have a Bill of Rights. Well, each of the 50 states are no different. Each state has their own constitution. And in Oklahoma's constitution, and in Oklahoma's Bill of Rights, inside of Oklahoma's constitution, we have safeguards against this type of thing. So in Article 2, Section 13 of the Oklahoma Constitution, it says plainly that imprisonment for debt is prohibited. It's prohibited. Unless it's due to the fact that you didn't pay some court-ordered fines. It's prohibited, plain and simple. So you can rest easy knowing that you have a constitutional right to not be imprisoned or arrested for a debt in the state of Oklahoma. Now, what if you're still faced with this in Oklahoma? Well, you might have some remedies. First and foremost, you might want to double check and see if the person calling you is a third-party debt collector. Because if they are a third-party debt collector, they are subject to a federal law known as the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And this is a federal law that the federal government put into place to protect consumers from some very shady tactics from debt collectors here in the United States. Now, what do I mean by third-party debt collector? What third-party debt collector means is someone other than the original creditor, which means someone different than the person that you originally owe the money to is trying to collect on the debt. And under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, they have certain tactics that they can and cannot use. One of the things that they cannot use are false or misleading representations. One of them being enumerated within the act says that you cannot tell a debtor that you can have them imprisoned or arrested unless it is lawful to do so and the debt collector intends to do that. Well, we've already learned earlier that in the state of Oklahoma, it is prohibited to imprison anybody for debt. So, every time a debt collector tells you that they're going to have you arrested or imprisoned in the state of Oklahoma for a debt, it's a violation of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And here's where your remedy lies. Later on in Section 813 of that act, it allows for individuals to sue debt collectors up to $1,000 for each infraction of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. So these are important things that you need to know to arm yourself, to put in your tool belt to not only arm yourself against debt collectors, but to protect yourself. So this is my 3-step process. Number 1, if you are faced with a debt collector calling you, threatening to have you arrested or imprisoned, rest easy. You already know you have a constitutional protection from being imprisoned or arrested for the debt. Secondly, find out if they are a third-party debt collector and they're going to be governed by the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. That's important. And number 3, and I think it's probably the most important, get in contact with your attorney immediately. That attorney might be able to get you compensated for the infractions of that debt collector. Once again, my name is Lorenzo Azar Banks, here on behalf of Minority Report Law. You can please feel free to reach us at minorityreportlaw.com and post your questions. Send us questions at www.facebook.com/MRLawOffice. I hope this was helpful, and hey, we'll see you next time.